Hello guys, and welcome to one of the first long-form videos on this channel. And today we are going to talk about irregular verbs. So the name of today's video is Complete Guide to Irregular Verbs. And let's start off with a very simple question. What are the irregular verbs? So in English we have verbs and they show action, right? Like go, eat, write, come, do, or see, right? And when we talk about the past, most verbs are regular, which means we simply add ed, right? It's very important to understand here that regular verbs, they are called that way because they follow the rule, right? Now, irregular with that prefix ir, it means no or not, don't follow the rule. So the rule, let's define the rule. It's very simple. When we want to take a verb and put it in the past form, we just have to add that ed, okay? Now, in case of words like work, we add ed and it's worked, and the third form is also worked. Play, played, played. Now, when it doesn't work, when these verbs don't follow the rule, we can't do that, right? And that's why we have a list or a table of irregular verbs. Now, these verbs don't follow the rule, right? They change their form completely, and those are called irregular verbs. Remember that ir prefix, it is actually not, so not regular, not following the rule, okay? It's very important just to understand the basic principle behind this regular and irregular verbs, because you might wonder, what are these irregular verbs? Are they somehow different? Yes, they are, because they don't follow this rule. For example, go, went, gone. We can't say goed. There's no such thing as goed. We have to look into the table and find these three forms of these irregular verbs. So let's review a few examples. Go, went, gone. See, saw, seen. Eat, ate, eaten. Do, did, done. Okay? Now, we always learn irregular verbs in these three forms. You've probably seen that everywhere you see these verbs, they all go in these three forms, okay? So the first one is a base form, or we can just simply call it first form of the verb, yeah? And the verb you find in a dictionary, right? So when you type a verb or look it up in a dictionary, you will see that base form. For example, I go to work. And indeed, we use it in present simple. Now, the second form, or past simple form, yeah, it's the form we use to talk about something that happened in the past, okay? For example, I went to work yesterday. And actually, we only use this second form only in past simple. Now, what about the third form? Many students think that if the first form is present and the second form is past, then it automatically means that the third form is future. No, of course not. Nothing can be farther from the truth, yeah? So third form is called past participle, and the form we use with have or had, basically we use this form in perfect tenses, but not only, okay? Not only. We use past participle or third form of the verb in some other cases, and I really want to make a separate video on that, so stay tuned. I'm gonna make a long form video about past participle, the third form of verbs. We will dive deeper into it and we'll see all the cases, all the possible scenarios where we can use this form, okay? Now, why are the irregular verbs important? Well, it's kind of obvious. Verb in English is the main thing, because you build tenses around verbs, right? And we use actions. We talk about actions every time. Like, look how many verbs I used even in this sentence, yeah? Talk, use, do something, yeah? All of these are verbs, and since we use them all the time, we have to know all of these different forms, because when you say some sentence in one tense, you use one form. When you change it to another tense, you use a different form, right, of the verb. we often talk about the past, right? Yeah, past actions, things we've done already, yeah? So we use what? Either second form or third form of the verbs, yeah? That's why they are very important for us, yeah? And if you don't know them well, your sentences may sound unnatural or incorrect or even confusing, you know? Very often I ask my students, did you really go there? I mean, because they said, I go. So I go or I went. Yeah, it's very important. If you change that, the whole story, the whole meaning changes, right? Okay, so when you use these verbs correctly, you'll sound more fluent, more confident, and more natural, just like a native speaker. Native speakers have these verbs figured out and they use them continuously and they don't make mistakes, you know, because they know them really, really well, okay? Now, how to learn irregular verbs faster. Let me introduce a few techniques we can use to learn these verbs faster. And after we do that, we'll practice together in a big quiz. By the way, at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a few links with very important and very useful resources to fully master irregular verbs. So stay tuned till the end of this video. I'll show you how to use those tools and how to work with them and how to access those tools, yeah? All right, so the first thing to remember is that we have to learn these irregular verbs in groups of 3. You've probably seen tables, lists of these irregular verbs, and you'll always see them in 3 columns, 3 forms, you know? And why is that? Well, because it's much easier to learn them together. In fact, if you look up a verb in a dictionary, for example, Cambridge Dictionary, you will see the base form, but at the bottom, you will also see past form and past participle. So they always go together, right? For example, these 3 forms, and we learn them together, will be like this, yeah? Go, went, gone, eat, ate, eaten, or write, wrote, written. So don't try to learn only the second form. Or another really good tip for you guys, yeah, that when you learn a verb, right, it's best to look up the second and third form and of course identify whether it's a regular or irregular verb. Let's say I learned the word cook, the verb cook, yeah? So I look it up and I see, okay, past form is cooked and past participle is cooked. So that means that this verb is regular. I know it, I can use it, right? But if I learn a verb like write, for example, yeah, then I look it up and I see, okay, past form is wrote and past participle is written, yeah? And that is super important because when you learn a new verb, you have to know what kind of verb it is and how to put it in the past or use it in, for example, present perfect, yeah? Now, number 2 is use rhythm and repetition. So I talk about this point as chanting, okay? I don't want to talk about it as a song. You don't really sing a song, although some people try to, maybe some teachers try to introduce irregular verbs in the form of a song, but I look at it in a much simpler way. So I talk about it in a way of chanting, okay? Now, what is chanting? When you go to a stadium and you are rooting for your favorite team, yeah, you say something like go, 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 win, win, win. And chanting is universal across all the countries in the world. Everyone knows how to chant, right? Basically saying words out loud in a certain rhythm. So that's what you have to use here with irregular verbs. I would even add another point there, and I would say, like, try to even create some kind of rhythm. I usually take a pen for that and I hit my palm with the pen and I try to chant these irregular verbs out loud so that you can memorize them and learn the correct pronunciation. For example, I do something like this: go, went, gone, or eat, ate, eaten, and then write, wrote, written. You see, many studies were done, conducted, that prove that singing and chanting and learning some things in a rhythm with a rhyme, yeah, it all helps us memorize things better. So if you do it this way, you will remember better. And in fact, I think this chanting will also help you memorize and remember these things when you have to use them. So every time when I want to talk about the past and I say, I took that thing, I brought that thing, or I bought that thing, yeah, I immediately remember that chanting, and it kind of becomes automatic, yeah. So the third point is learn by sound, not just spelling. So of course, don't focus only on how they look. Don't just look at the text, look at the table and just see them. You have to repeat them out loud. So you have to, of course, figure out how to pronounce them correctly. So this chanting is very important, but I think the best result can be achieved when you look at them and you listen to them. What I would do if I wanted to learn 10 new irregular verbs, I would find them, on a list, right? I would look through them, I would see them, yeah, and then I would hit the recording on my phone, my standard app recorder, and I would record for myself these verbs in a chanting form, right? Just saying like drink, drank, drunk, or go, went, gone. And then I would listen to that recording over and over again until I learned them. It's a very easy, simple trick for you to keep making progress every day. Just create such recordings with any topic you want, and you will memorize and remember things better. Okay, number 4, group similar verbs together. And that's a very interesting point here. Let's look at the example here. So drink, drank, drunk, sing, sang, sung, ring, rang, rung. As you can see, these verbs, they change kind of in the same similar pattern, right? We have I, A, U, drink, drank, drunk, yeah? So these are called verb patterns, and I prepared a special PDF for you where I introduced these patterns, these groups. So we take all of the regular verbs and we divide them into groups by a very similar pattern, okay? So, for example, one more verb into this group will be swim, swam, swam, okay? The same pattern. Let me show you that list. It's right here, and I will include this PDF, and you can get this PDF. Just click the link in the description to this video, and you can get this PDF. As you can see, we have first group, completely irregular verbs, where we don't have any patterns. Second one is write, wrote, written group, yeah? As you can see, the same pattern. Write, wrote, written, break, broke, broken, choose, chose, chosen, and so on. Third group will be fly, flew, flown. For example, blow, blew, blown. As you can see, they follow the same or very similar pattern. Fourth group, come, came, come, become, became, become, and so on. Group number 5 is begin, began, begun. This is the one I had in my previous slide. And as you can see, swim, swam, swum is there too, right? Group number 6, get, got. So where we have first form and then second and third are the same. Something like build, 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 or probably sleep, slept, slept, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then, yeah, right here, sleep, sleep, slept, slept, yeah? So second and third forms are the same. And then group number 7, put. All forms are the same, just like cost, 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 cut, 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 and so on. And then we have common irregular verbs in alphabetical order, like all of them right here, like most of the common ones, yeah? And then some, like often, the verbs that we often confuse. For example, I know this for sure that many of my students confuse verbs feel, felt, felt, and fall, fell, fallen, because they sound similar, they look similar, yeah? So that's why we confuse them. You can find them here as well. So get this PDF in the link below. Now let's come back to our main slide here, main presentation, and of course, point number 5 would be to practice out loud daily. As you can see, and I mentioned that you can prepare those recordings for yourself, saying them out loud, listening to your own recording, but most importantly, don't just look at them and read them. You have to do things aloud. You know, this is some principle that I try to communicate to many of my students. try to read out loud. Yeah, say things out loud, because your ultimate goal is to be able to say these things, right? One thing is writing, another thing is reading, but speaking, that's what we all want to do, right? We all want to get to the point where we can speak, right? So don't lose this opportunity, don't miss this opportunity to say it aloud. And the last point is use them in real life, okay? So don't just memorize, make real sentences. Every time when you look at the verb and these three forms, we just have to use those verbs in a sentence, right? So if it's, let's say, write, wrote, written, yeah? I write emails often at work, yeah? Wrote, I wrote an email yesterday. And written, I don't know how this word is written or how this sentence is written, yeah? Another usage. Or I've written something, yeah? Okay, so use them in real life. Practice makes perfect, right? And then practice time. So let's do some interesting practice together. I will pick up my pen and I will chant these verbs out loud, and I'll give you some time to repeat after me, okay? So I often do this with my students in their homework when I record an audio, okay? Audio with corrections, with some new irregular verbs that they learned, and I say something, and then I expect my students to repeat after me. I leave that time, that pause, yeah, for them to repeat. Let's do it together. So let's start with the first one. I'll say it, I'll make a pause, and then you repeat. Let's go. Go, went, gone. Come, came, come. Take, took, taken. Write, wrote, written. See, saw, seen. Eat, ate, eaten. Speak, spoke, spoken. Fly, flew, flown. Grow, grew, grown. Throw, threw, thrown. Begin, began, begun. Sing, sang, sung. Run, ran, run. Break, broke, broken. And the last one, choose, chose, chosen. Great. So, that was a good practice. Thank you guys for doing that. Now, let's also review some important point here. Common mistakes, okay? So, by now you already know that there are regular, irregular verbs. We use the first form for present simple, we use the second form for past simple, and the third one is used in various cases, but the most prominent case is, of course, perfect tenses. Yeah, I have done, I had done, I will have done, yeah, for example, right? So what are the common mistakes? Well, the first one is, of course, saying the wrong tense form. Like, you don't know whether this verb is regular or irregular. You assume that it's a regular verb and you try to add ed, like here, I goed there. That's wrong, of course. You have to identify whether it's a regular or irregular verb. So correct form would be I went there. Now, how to check this? Follow the link in the description and access Cambridge Dictionary. There, I left a link for the verb go. Go ahead and check it. Check whether go is a regular or irregular verb. Well, you already know that it's an irregular verb, but just check it and develop certain pattern of actions how to check these verbs. Next time you learn a new verb, you will do the same. You will go to Cambridge, you look it up, and you'll see, oh, okay, that's an irregular verb, okay? So then I'll have to act accordingly, and I will not be able to add ed, right? Second common mistake is forgetting to use the past participle with have or has. Yes, many students say, I have saw, okay, or I have went. No, that's not correct. Of course, you need to use the third form, and that's why, look, you have to learn all three forms together at once, yeah? That's the idea here. So the correct would be, I have seen that film, okay? And the third common mistake is trying to translate each verb from your language. So you have to learn them directly in English, and it's faster and much more like natural, right? So don't try to use maybe translators to learn them. Better use a dictionary. So you learn a verb, go ahead, look it up, and learn the three forms, okay? You can use, of course, tables, lists, like the list I provided you with, in a PDF. You can use that too, but I think dictionary is the best way to double check everything and to learn it fully, okay? Now, let's, in the next part, practice together an interactive quiz. So I prepared a nice quiz for you, which consists of two parts, because there were just too many irregular verbs, and I tried to put there all irregular verbs that I could possibly find. So let's start practicing together, and then of course you can access these quizzes just in the link below in the description to this video, okay? As you can see in the first quiz, you have 72 terms. So it's a great, interesting website called No Word, and I created those quizzes there. Just go ahead and choose classic mode here, and go to rules, and remove this time limit completely, okay? And then just click start game. Here you'll have the following format, okay? You will see the first form, and then either second or third form will be missing, and you have to fill in the gap, okay? So let's try to do it here. I will do it with you. First, let me ask you, so what will be the answer here? Deal, dealt, and then what's the third form? You've already guessed probably that it's gonna be dealt, because that's a group where second and third forms are the same. So, dealt. And that's correct. Good job. Now, how about this one? Hurt, missing form, hurt. What's the answer? You've guessed it already, I guess. That irregular verb has all three forms the same. So it's going to be hurt, hurt, hurt. And now you got the point. Let's try to do it together. So what's the answer? Hit, hit. Now what about can? What's the past form of can? This is a bit irregular. Yeah, of course. Irregular, like irregular pattern even. So the answer is could. Yeah. Let's do a couple more. Have. What's the answer? Had. Have, had. Draw. Drew, drawn. Yeah, correct. Hear, heard, and what's the third form? Correct, heard. Okay, I hope you are following along. So how about this one? Cost, cost, and then cost, of course. Forbid. The third is forbidden. How about the second form? What's the second form of the verb forbid? It's forbade. Forbid, forbade, forbidden. How about this one? Arise, arose, arisen, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't use this word very often. It's maybe not one of the common ones. How about this one? Lay, laid, and then, by the way, if you start typing the answer, yeah, you will see that if you type the correct word, correct letter, it shows you a green color, yeah? But if, let's say, I start typing a wrong letter, it will turn into red. So how about this one? You see it's correct, and that is lane. So lane or laid. Yes, laid. So lay, laid, laid. Yeah, that's an important point, okay? So know, knew. How about the third form? Known. Okay. Forgive, forgave, forgiven. Burst, burst. You've guessed it. The third form will be the same. Burst. Okay. How about this one? Creep, crapped, crapped. Okay, we are doing well. And let's do one more. Dream, dreamt, dreamt. Okay, dreamt, dreamt. Now, let me show you the second quiz, guys. So this is the second one, and here we have 63 irregular verbs. So in total, we have how many? 135 irregular verbs you can practice, okay? And by the way, I want to remind you that you can access this quiz. Just click the link below, and there it will be, okay? I will put there 2 links for 2 quizzes, and that PDF that I promised, yeah, with all of the patterns, irregular verbs patterns, okay? So let's play a bit this quiz. Again, I will remove the time limit and just click start game, okay? Let's do it. So, yeah, again, set, swell, swelled. It's either swelled or swollen. Yeah, swollen. Okay, swell, swelled, swollen. Steal, stole, stolen. Spend. If the third form is spent, you've guessed it, the second one will be spent. Spent, okay? Shrink, shrank. You probably can see the pattern, yeah? I, A, and then will be U, yeah? So it's shrunk. Shrank. Sorry, I made a mistake there. Yeah, I have to be very careful when I type because I didn't type correctly, yeah? So how about this one? Tell, told, told, yeah? Run, and you might think, oh, that's the, you know, the moment where all 3 forms are the same. But no, that's not that pattern. It's come, came, come pattern, right? Just as in the verb come, the first and the third form are the same, but the middle one, the second one, is not the same. So it's run, ran, run, okay? Let's do a couple more. Wake, woke. What's the third form? Woken. Smell, smelt, smelt, okay? Swear, swore, sworn. Tear, what's the second form of tear? Like break something, tear. And that is torn. Sorry, tore. Tear, tore, torn. The third form is torn. See, that's an easy one. See, saw, seen, right? And then one more. Say, sad, sad. And the last one. Think, thought. And the third one is thought. Okay, so here you go. Let me quit this game when I'm done with the quiz. So you have what? Let me quit this one as well. You have 2 quizzes. Irregular verbs from A to L and irregular verbs from M to Z, okay? I'll send you these links. Just click the link in the description and you will have access, you will get access to these links. Basically, in the exchange for your email, I'll send you some more content, more information, more useful things. And of course, this is not the last video. There'll be many more videos to watch, so stay tuned, okay? Now, let's come back to our presentation here, okay? And let me just read out to you the final message. So, irregular verbs, they are really, really important because they are the backbone of all tenses, of grammar, English grammar, yeah? So, once you start repeating and using them daily, you'll notice how natural your speech becomes. Well, we can't avoid, you know, learning this because it's essential part of English grammar. Keep practicing. Use those tips that I've given you. Okay, use the rhythm. Go, went, gone. Yeah. Use the PDF and the quizzes. You can, you know, learn the spelling too because through quiz and through typing, yeah, you can actually learn the spelling. I didn't mention that, but it's obvious. Spelling is very important. You cannot imagine how many of my students knew the verbs, yeah, they knew how to say them, they knew how to use them, but when I asked them to type something, they made mistakes all the time. Why? Because they just didn't type anything. They didn't write anything. They only read the text and listened and, you know, used them in speaking. So in that case, you will have this missing puzzle, yeah, missing skill and that is spelling. When somebody asks you to write something, you'll make mistakes, and you don't want to be there, right? So that's why quiz is really cool, really nice for you to practice your spelling as well. Keep learning, keep repeating those. Don't forget that in the description you will have the link to those quizzes, 2 quizzes, and the PDF with patterns, because learning irregular verbs with patterns is much easier. You will like group them and remember how they behave, and you will learn them faster. If you like this video, give a like and follow me, subscribe to this channel. There'll be many more grammar videos, lots of resources. I've been teaching English for the last 8 to 9 years, and I have a lot of materials to share with you guys. So if you like this video, if you like this content, stay tuned, get that quiz and the PDF, and I'll see you in the next one.